Well, this time, you know, it's not a high life this time, so this time it's, coming of age, teenage drama, all that crap with martial arts mixed in it. And, what I'm referring to is the old and good Karate Kid.
Yes, The Karate Kid, starring Ralph Macchio, Pat Morita, has Daniel Son, LaRusso, and Mr. Miyagi. Several of you may have heard of this. If not, your parents definitely have. I encourage you to go to them. They probably have very fond memories of this film, which turned out to be sort of a cult classic, I would say, of its day, especially with young people, and really sparked an interest in young people getting involved in the martial arts.
It's one of the reasons why I decided to take up martial arts, although I didn't have a teacher like Miyagi. I didn't have to wax cars or anything. Thank God.
And you weren't like a gardener for a apartment complex, I hope.
Nope. I just got tossed around like a doll a lot.
Yeah. Well, I would say with this film, it really builds on itself. Maybe this is just me, but like at the beginning of this film, I was a little bored. Because, the opening shot is this car that the LaRussos are, moving to California from, I believe it's New York.
No, I think it's New Jersey.
Yeah, New Jersey, yeah. They're moving to California, I think, for her job. Anyway, the beginning scene is just, the car driving through, and then they settle, and, you can kind of tell that Ralph Macchio's character, Daniel, is just not really feeling it, because he's not used to the environment or anything. He's just kind of not feeling the move. And so what really starts happening is he starts exploring, the area, and sees that, this apartment's kind of derpy, and it's kind of dumpy, and, it's just not what he would call the ideal living situation. But then, where things I would say really start to pick up is the scene at the beach, where he's down at the beach, and he starts flirting with that girl, who later turns out to be his love interest in the film. And all of a sudden, the bad guy comes out of nowhere with his motorcycle gang and challenges Daniel to a fight. And when he challenges him to a fight, little does Daniel know, this guy's like an expert karate, master, and he just knocks him on his ass.
Yep. Probably knocked me on mine, too.
Yeah. He really, that's just bad.
Yeah, and he's portrayed as, I guess, the stereotypical martial arts guy that uses it for gain and all that, and not the traditional only defense and stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know, one thing I complain with romance movies is the guy, who used to date her, he's portrayed as an ass with no sympathy and all that, and compared to the goody two-shoes, baby-faced heartthrob, that's one part I didn't like that much.
Yeah, no.
And he didn't really have a backstory either, he was just kind of an ass. You could argue maybe he's pissed at his girlfriend leaving him for Daniel. Well, she didn't leave him for Daniel, they had broken up before Daniel even got there, it implies, so, and he just beats him up. I guess they really leave you to deduce that for yourself or something, because his teacher, after the beach scene, Daniel tries to go to a karate school, and apparently that dude is there, so he can't do that. And
yeah, this guy, he's at the karate school, he's at the dojo, where Daniel tries to go to learn karate, and the sensei at that one, he is a Vietnam vet, and he's messed up, I guess, from the war, and he is just not a nice person. You get the eerie vibe right off the bat with this guy. This guy is just not good news. You can just tell right away. And, of course, Daniel doesn't end up going there. And then, it's around that time that he, starts to befriend Mr. Miyagi, who is the groundskeeper at the apartment complex where he is moved to. And little does he know that Miyagi is skilled in karate. And I think that's really shown. Miyagi's skills are really, really shown during the point where Daniel is being confronted by this group of delinquent kids, I like to call them. But it's the gang of the kid who beat him up at the beach. And they are all, they corner him against a chain link fence and are just really laying into him. And out of nowhere, Miyagi just comes out of just like the blue and beats the heck out of these people. I almost slipped up and cursed. But yeah, I mean, he just beats the heck out of these people. And, like, good day, like, you really see that this guy's no joke. Like, he may look small and, like, petite, like an old Asian man, but this guy's packing a punch. And you don't want to mess with the master.
It's like Bruce Lee is he's real small and all that, but I wouldn't want to make Bruce Lee mad.
God no. What, I think it would be interesting to see Miyagi versus Bruce Lee. Although I think he'd kick Miyagi's ass, I'm sorry. Because Bruce Lee...
He beat Chuck Norris, so...
Yeah, well, Bruce Lee he was so quick, like, before you could even, like, have a straight thought, he was already, like, had made his move and subdued the person. Like, that's skill. That's rare skill. Like, no one could surpass that.
I used to dream about reaching that skill, but I'm just like, nope, I probably could never do that.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, I've always got to go with Bruce Lee. He's the true master. Jackie Chan's not bad, but when it comes down to it... Because Pat Morita actually was not a real-life karate master. He used a stunt double for all of his scenes involving martial arts in the film. So he, was just a stand-up comic turned actor who had previously appeared on the famous television show Sanford & Son. And after Sanford & Son, he was really good friends with Red Fox. And he was able to use his connections to build a name for himself in the stand-up world and in the acting world, and was eventually cast in the part of Karate Kid as Mr. Miyagi, and really, was well known for that for the rest of his life.
Yeah, he does do a good job, definitely. And, like, he gives off a vibe of a heartwarming, loving, he's the complete opposite of that jerk in that school, so,
yeah.
He's real compassionate, and he doesn't use martial arts to show off or... Like, I guess it's embedded into a martial arts is for defense, not show business or tournaments. Or
Yeah, he has a completely different philosophy than the sensei at the other karate school. That guy, he teaches his students to master the art of karate just for self-defense purposes and to, toughen them up, you could say. Where Miyagi's approach is more about self-respect and stealth and, really appreciating and learning life lessons through the art that is karate. And if it needs to be used for self-defense, then by all means, yes, you're still qualified to do that, but it's just a more civilized approach to it than the other guy. So, yeah. And that's where, Daniel ends up getting the best training, way far better training than he ever would have gotten at that other karate school. So, but, all the while, he gets the girl. He ends up getting the girl, because of his personality. And, he's Ralph Macchio, And, he just had that charisma about him that, won the girl over in the end. And plus, he wasn't an asshole. So, anyway, it comes about for him to compete in this karate championship, martial arts championship, competition, match, whatever, series of matches against this guy who is his rival. And
ain't just the guy, it's some of the other students too.
Yeah, it's his whole posse, really, all those guys on the motorcycles. And he trains for it. And while he's training, the really specific training method used on the beach, the scene where they're on the beach training, is when he does the stance. This stance like this. I forgot what it's called. What do you call it?
The crane kick.
The crane kick, yeah. So he sees Miyagi doing it, and, he learns to do it and everything. And that really, really comes in handy towards the end of the film. Now, for those of you who have seen this film, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly how this is going to turn out for Daniel and this other guy in this match. But, for those of you who have not seen it, I'm not going to use a spoiler. I'm not going to ruin it for you. I'm going to let you go out there. I'm going to let you watch this movie. And I want you guys to comment below what you think about it when you see it. I would love to hear your responses as to the ending to this film. I will say that the ending does involve the final match between the two, but I'm not going to let you know what happens. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. It just goes to prove that his training really not only benefited him in self-defense terms, but also really taught him a lot about growing up.
Yeah, like I said, it's a coming of age movie, and yeah, like you said, it teaches you about how martial arts can help you overcome stuff in life, and it ain't just about fighting. And you should probably always try to avoid a fight, but if you have to, do what you gotta do.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's kind of like what Jet Li, I think, said, because I think he's Buddhist or something. He said, if you just think automatically think you're the best fighter in the world, and you try to solve everything by fighting or something, you can't be considered a true martial artist or something like that. I think this movie kind of shows that. Like, he only fought when he had to and stuff.
Yeah.
And Miyagi shows Daniel that martial arts ain't about revenge and using it for gain. He shows the true side of it, that, just don't misuse it like anything, really.
Yeah.
So it kind of exemplifies life, and
yeah,
it's just like life told through a martial arts perspective, I guess.
Right. Well, yeah, and I mean, I would say it was a pretty good family film. I mean, you can sit down with the parents and watch it. I mean, I think it was directed at kids, teens. It was a kid/teen movie. I mean, it's kind of in the style of the John Hughes coming-of-age films. It's kind of in that style, but not really. It's not affiliated with John Hughes. Oh, the director for this film, John Avildsen, something like that. Don't quote me on that, but it's something to that degree. And he directed all three of the Karate Kid movies because, as you know, there were 2 more installments to the series, both featuring Ralph Macchio and Pat Morita.
There was a 4th, but sadly, only Pat Morita comes back, and apparently, one time I read that Ralph Macchio was aging and stuff by the time that movie was made, so he was either too old, and I read somewhere else that he announced he didn't want to be the Sylvester Stallone of the Karate Kid movies.
Oh yeah, with Rocky.
He could have, I mean, even if he was an adult, they could have had him in it somehow, like, I don't know, train the girl or something.
Oh, a cameo.
Yeah.
Just a cameo. Yeah, well, I mean... Oh, that's another thing. That's a good point you brought up. Yeah, fun little trivia fact for you. So, Ralph Macchio, when they filmed this Karate Kid, the first Karate Kid movie, was about 23 years old. So, he was nowhere near the age that Daniel LaRusso, his character, is in the film. Daniel LaRusso is, still a teenager, a young high school kid, whereas Ralph Macchio is playing that character, but he's actually 23. So yeah, but Ralph Macchio had that look to him where like he didn't have facial hair, he had kind of a baby face, and like kind of had the body of a high schooler. So he made it work. Like you wouldn't have known had you not like heard this from like IMDb or something. But yeah, he looks very much like a high schooler. But you would never think that he was actually older than he is.
When I was told how old he is, I flipped. I was like, what?
Yeah. So, but yeah, like I said, I'm not going to ruin the ending for you guys. I will say, number one, you will really be surprised at how it turns out. And number two, the one phrase that comes with this movie that I think anybody who's a true fan of it really knows, sweep the leg. You know what that means. Oh, and wax on, wax off. That's a big one. Yeah, so I'll close on this about backing up a little bit. Miyagi's training methods. Let's talk about that for a minute. He doesn't have him doing the traditional go in the studio and warm up and like spar with a partner. He's got Daniel LaRusso over here doing house chores. He's got him waxing the car where the line wax on, wax off comes from. He's got him like painting the house, doing repairs to the yard. I mean, working these long hours. And, yeah, I mean, he has some very unorthodox training methods, to which Daniel just really seems to question because he doesn't really understand how that's helping him. But, I mean, it really does boost his character and morale and trains him mentally for such focus that comes with karate.
And he taught him how to do housework, so
yeah,
helped him in the long run.
Yeah, he taught him life skills. But another line, and I promise I'll stop with the spoilers here, but the one line that I really, really enjoy from this movie is when Miyagi's sitting on the floor, and he's got these chopsticks, and he's trying to catch this fly. Yeah, me too. Yeah, he's got these chopsticks. He's trying to catch this fly that just is circling around him, and he's get close and he'll do that. A fly is just that quick. I mean, of course he doesn't get him, so he's keeps going for it, and Daniel comes up to him and asks what's going on, and he says, man who can catch fly with chopsticks can accomplish anything, or something like that. And so he's been trying, I'm assuming, for a really long time to do this, and has failed. And Daniel takes the chopsticks and tries it, and it's no time. He catches the damn fly.
Miyagi just looks... It's one of the rare times I think you see Miyagi show his childish side. You'll begin on luck.
Yeah, because he really is, kind of disappointed that he's been trying all this time, and he is a master of the art, and Daniel's just a student, just starting out and immediately just does it right off the bat. And also, in this film, you learn a lot about Miyagi's backstory, too, and what made him the man he is, which is really interesting, too. So,
yeah.
Overall, I would say this is definitely worth the watch. I hope you guys watch it. I hope you guys enjoy. And I really did, and yeah, it's a classic that I think will still be around for generations to come. How about you? What do you got to say about it?
I like it more than the remake, golly. Despite the remake being darn good, I like it a lot more than the remake, because, this one has a high school kid, and in high school, I mean, I won't necessarily bullied like he was, but I still went through some crap, so I could actually watch that and relate, and it drove me to try martial arts, even though I wouldn't say I was that good.
Yeah.
Well, then again, I always wanted to spar with Wayne Adams, not sensei, but, teacher, so, yeah, compared to him, I won't good at all, but yeah, it is a good movie, and it's realistic, and touches on relatable stuff, and can teach you a lot of life lessons, and so... Yeah, I do recommend it, mostly for teenagers. Yeah, mostly for teenagers, because it's more directed at teenagers, and it's well acted, well directed, and has a lot of heart, and the characters are likable, all that stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah. That's pretty much what it boils down to. If you like martial arts, if you like family films, if you like action adventure and teen coming of age, this is the film for you.
Yeah, and it's the right blend of Three Ninjas and a Bruce Lee film.
Yeah, the Three Ninjas series. I totally forgot about that, but yeah. Whew.
It's not too childish, but it's not too mature like a Bruce Lee movie either.
Yeah. Well, nothing more to say. I think we'll close with that. Hope you guys enjoy. And subscribe.
Please.